Hi, everybody. You like our new music?
I want to do a polka.
I know. I'm telling you, it made me want to get up and dance. Arthur wrote that. So that's some of his music. So he found a better song for me to use. And I won't get in trouble for it. I'm already in YouTube jail. What the hell, you know? Well, welcome to Draining the Swamp.
Sings accordion, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just to let y'all know, thank you everybody for the birthday wishes. I do appreciate it. And yeah, today's the big day, so I hit 63.
Oh
thank you. I'm getting old and decrepit, man. What can I say? This is going to be our last live show. We didn't do the last show last month that we were scheduled to do because it was Memorial Day. Arthur was busy and Mel and I were like, you know what? It's Memorial Day. Nobody's going to show up. So we just didn't do it. And so that's why we're doing it tonight, to kind of make up for missing last week. And then starting next Monday, we'll be back on regular schedule, the second and fourth Monday of the month, where Arthur will be with us on the second Monday of the month. And then we'll have a guest on the fourth Monday of the month, because he'll be with Marina on her channel. So we'll either, Linda told me to tell her the next time Arthur won't be here and we need a guest. She says, well, let me know and I'll come on. I said, okay. So you'll have to goose her on that, Mel, so she doesn't forget. And but starting next week, we'll do pre-recorded. So we'll all post something in our community page. You can put in your questions and then we'll get all the questions put together and go from there. Y'all know how it goes. So gentlemen, what's up? Arthur, you're first. Anything new going on? Anything you want to share?
Not much. Just same old. You know, getting through the days. In Los Angeles, we have what's called June gloom. So it's really, the sun doesn't come out until at 1 o'clock. It gets kind of boring. But I've got Tuesdays with Mel Dore.
Yeah.
Aloha Tuesdays. Yeah.
And that's tomorrow night. So y'all be sure to be there tomorrow night too. So
and I'm behind on a solo show. Actually I taped it. I had some editing problems with it. So that'll go up tomorrow. And that's about it. I'm doing a show with Val on Friday.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dore, what about you?
Well, tomorrow with Arthur. Wednesday, I think with Kim Copeland's on my channel. Thursday, Kevin Chandler's on my channel. I'm getting ready to go to Africa. That's why I've been doing a lot of collabs, because we're leaving June the 20th and I'm getting all that together. I mean, I've been working till 10 o'clock at night. And then final payment for the Rhine River is due June the 6th. So I'm coordinating all that. And how
long are you going to Africa?
From
June 20th
to July the 2nd. So we're
that way I could adjust accordingly.
Then I'm coordinating the September event that we're having here. Oh, and Arthur, by the way, next Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock, we're having a StreamYard meeting for all the presenters. And Aiden might want to videotape little snippet so he can edit it all together. And then we can put it on our individual channels. So
cool.
Yeah, it's going to be neat. Anyway.
7 o'clock Central?
I'm sorry?
7 o'clock Central.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a lot
going on. 5 o'clock Arthur time.
There's a lot going on. So I like to stay busy. I've just been tired. Like today, I ran into the city to Pippin's and I met with Sophia. It's a wonderful venue. And we were going over traffic patterns for the rooms and tablecloth colors. And we're using the colors of Chicago and all that stuff. So
Chicago has colors.
Yes, we have a flag that's got. Here, I'll show you. I can show it better than I can explain it. Okay. So, wait a minute. Let me look it up. And I think
we're blue and white. I know the pelican is a state bird.
See, it's like that teal.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So our lanyards are the teal blue with the red writing. And then I think I'll get little Chicago flags or something to put on the tables. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But, so our tablecloths are going to be those colors.
Cool.
Because it's Chicago.
Awesome.
And we have a piano player on the first night, the Thursday evening, meet and greet. That's where we met everybody. And Arthur's going to MC, but he's going to play some Chicago songs. So, not songs from the Chicago.
I wish I could go, man. I was really bummed I couldn't make it, but next time.
Next time. So anyway, that's what's going on. So if you're interested, call my office, 847-590-5411, or email me, www.meldor, MELDOERR.com. Enough about my stuff.
Now on to birthday girl.
Yeah, on to
Yes. So birthday girl.
Yeah. 63 today. So I figured it's special. I'm 63 on 6-3.
Yay.
Both numbers equal 9. 9 and 9 is 18. So that makes both numbers equals 9. So it's 3. Somebody said, yeah, that's special. I said, okay, it works for me. So
well, 9 is a completion of cycles. So that the older cycles are complete so you can start brand new ones.
And 3 is a new start.
So
cool.
Those are actually Tesla numbers, you know?
Welcome to your new
that's what somebody else was telling me was Tesla. I had Tesla numbers. I was like, oh, I don't know what that means. Okay. So
somebody in the chat said you share the same birthday with our first lady, Jill Biden. Yay.
Really? Right. I didn't know her birthday was today.
Yes.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
She went to spend time with her stepson in court.
Yep. At least he had family show up to support him in court. Because the last court case didn't have any family show up to support him.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think Eric was there, but I don't think Eric counts in his book. So, Eric's still trying to score points with Dad, and it's just not working.
Yeah, right.
Especially when he's in that speech, we're all white.
Yeah.
As opposed to all right.
Well, I've got some things that I kind of did my homework about before we got started. So,
and Arthur's got some questions, and I've got some stuff that I wrote down too. So, we should be good.
I think, well, there's a couple things my guides had shown me about Israel that the Israeli people would be protesting in the streets against Netanyahu, but that there would be like thousands, hundreds of thousands. And as it turned out, that's happening. There was over 150,000 people, I think, protesting in Israel against Netanyahu's handling of the Gaza thing, and they want the hostages to come home. And these people are going to continue to protest. And this is the gasoline on the fire that will finally bring down Netanyahu. I don't think he's going to accept Biden's plan for peace. If he does, I'll be very surprised. But my guides keep showing me somebody coming into Israel who would be a peacemaker in the Middle East, would have Israel and Palestine becoming two separate states, but that would bring about peace in the region, but will put up with no nonsense and put up with nobody attacking Israel. And my guides also show me that within the next, 3 to 5 years, that Palestine and Israel will actually be very friendly with each other. So that's what I see.
Well, I know when I did a reading on that question, I guess a week or so ago, and that's what I got was that a two-state solution was gonna pass, and it was gonna take place. It was just a few more years down the road. So I'm not very good with timing yet, so It just wasn't right now. It was the best I could do. So, what about you, Arthur? Anything on that you had?
Well, I've always been saying, and I've always been feeling for quite some time now, that they chase him out of town, Netanyahu, by the end of July into August. And he may be up for charges.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Arthur,
Okay.
you hit exactly on the Trump jury. You said that they would be done by Friday.
I said Thursday, Friday by 7:00. Yeah, you got it.
You got that right. But my guys told me something about that too, with Trump and the fundraising. Well, we knew he'd do it. My guys
God.
told us he would do it. But I still see somewhere along the line, they're going to say, wait a minute, you cannot raise money on being convicted of a criminal felony. So therefore, if that's your campaign fund, it has to go over here. You can't use it for something else, which we all know he'll try. I got a funny feeling that the state of New York is going to try to confiscate a lot of that money for the 450 million heels. Now, I don't know how they'll be able to do it, but I'm telling you, I see them saying he cannot do that.
Well, it goes with the Son of Sam laws. You can't be making money, profiting off of a crime.
Yeah.
That's my point. So, what do you think, Shari?
No, I agree. I think that he's just made so many missteps and so much corruption over so many years that just trying to get a handle on all of it, I think is what's kind of slowing down the process. But I really get a feeling like he's, now that he's been convicted 34 times, I see the other juries not being as frightened about convicting him now that that's set the precedent for it. Because now they're like, okay, if New York can do it, we can do it. And I also get the feeling that Cannon down in Florida, she's not long before she's gone.
When you said jurors, I said today with Linda Grindle, and I've been saying it all along, that on this case where he was just convicted, because of what he said about jurors, and he's going to keep opening his mouth, and he's still under the gag order. And my feeling is Judge Marchand is going to hold him in contempt of court again, and actually this time incarcerate him, whether it's house arrest, I don't know. But I see it happening. Well, I thought after the trial I wasn't under a gag order. Yeah, you are.
Wasn't released.
And the other thing I see is there's going to be 2, possibly 3 jurors coming forward that he has vilified and lied about and slandered them that are going to sue him. And guess what? They're going to win.
Yeah, there was an article, I didn't have time to read it, that I saw the headline that several of the jurors were already filing complaints that his people were already doxing them and putting their information out.
Well, this is my psychic impression given to me by my guides when the trial first started, that these jurors were going to come forward and sue him. And on other cases as well, Shari, I'm glad you said that, because if he tries those shenanigans with jurors on other cases, they're not going to be fearful, and they're going to sue him too. And he's going to lose on all of this stuff.
I think Roberta Kaplan's going to be very, very busy. She was the lawyer for E. Jean Carroll.
There you go.
I still think I feel that she's going to go after E. Jean Carroll's going to go after him for a third time too. By the way.
Oh, she is, absolutely, and she's going to win.
Exactly.
Trump is saying the thing, Biden's against me, it was rigged. Ever notice when Donald Trump loses, how he says it's rigged? He needs to get a different story. Everything can't be rigged.
But it's only rigged when he loses. If he were to win, it wasn't rigged.
Ever notice when he loses, it's always rigged, right? When he wins.
Well, and it's never his fault.
Correct.
It's always somebody else's fault. He's the ultimate victim.
But he's
whiner and complainer.
But he's always going to engage in the D's that I came up. deceive, divert, detract, distract, divide, try to destroy, and to be duplicit. Those are all the D's that define Trump, I think.
And you know how I define Trump these days?
Be nice.
From the Wizard of Oz. Cowardly, no heart, no brain. And that makes
and behind the curtain,
Johnny will be played by Margaret Hamilton. But that makes Fonnie Willis and Letitia James Dorothy.
I want to be the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, you can do it. We can do the roadshow.
I'll get you, Mr. Trump. You and your little conspiracy theorist too.
Yeah, really. But think about it.
like
Has no brain, has no heart, and he's definitely he's scaredy cat, no courage.
God, isn't that the truth?
So what about SCOTUS? A lot of people are fearful, and I watched Glenn Kirshner. Glenn Kirshner is really cool. And the other one, I can't think of his last name, Cohen. He's younger, and he has Glenn Kirshner on. But Glenn Kirshner...
Oh, Brian Tyler Cohen, I think it is.
Yeah.
He's really good. I watch him on Midas.
Yeah, I like him.
But Glenn Kirshner said that, I guess they were saying, what about this New York case? Can it go to the Supreme Court? And Glenn Kirshner says, well, yeah, the Supreme Court's made it pretty obvious lately. They can do anything they want. But he said, typically, if it would go to the Supreme Court, it would only be the court would hear it if something happened that was unconstitutional to Donald Trump. But there was nothing in that trial that was unconstitutional. And Trump is going to appeal it on a mistrial. But the appeals court in the state is going to say no. And then he's going to appeal it, maybe try to go to federal court, and a federal court will say no. If SCOTUS hears it, I still don't think they're going to overturn the conviction. Well, they might overturn a few charges, but not all of them.
What I'm getting here is, first of all, he has to appeal. It's a state thing. He has to appeal to the state. That takes a while. And then he's not going to like what the appeals says, because it may go to 3 judges. Then he'll want all the judges to make his decision. Then from there, it'll go to the Supreme Court, another Supreme Court of New York, and one thing after the other. It's going to be after the election by the time anything like that is going to come down anyway.
I guess
Arthur, you just got a new member.
I'm sorry.
Arthur just got a new member.
Oh, hi,
Candace C. Yeah, she. When it popped up, I didn't know who it went with, so I was like, "Let me go look," because I've got all 3 of our pages running on the other computer.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So that way we all get the running time as it's going.
So anyway, I think, but to get it to SCOTUS, yeah, you're right, Arthur. It has to go through all those channels. But the question people want to know is, if we know he's found guilty. And typically when somebody's found guilty, sentencing July the 11th, yay. Will he, I never saw him in jail. He might be in house arrest or something. But the question is, do you think the judge will let him stay out of jail until the appeals go through? And I'm saying no. Because when you're found guilty, you go to the pokey if the judge sentences you to that, and you stay in the pokey until your appeal. But
they already stepped way out of bounds. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Everyone's been saying, how come he wasn't arrested and taken to jail at that moment because he was guilty? It's like it was a Class E felony, so that like a white collar crime. So they wouldn't do that. So because everybody thought, oh, he's a special treatment. No, it wasn't special treatment there.
But the thing is that I feel that all the appeals court in the state of New York, and I'm going to say, no, this was not a mistrial. There was nothing unconstitutional. And even if he takes it to a lower federal court, but what he's going to try to do is finagle it to get the Supreme Court to hear it a lot quicker. And I don't know if they do. I see them kicking it back to the state, just like they
I don't see it happening.
I'm sorry.
Whatever it's worth. I don't see it happening. I do not see that happening. I don't see the Supreme Court touching its fingers into this Trump state thing.
Well, he's going to try to take it to the Supreme Court.
Oh, he's going to try. He's already been, demanding that they
And
listen
he's
to
going to
it.
try to get them to hurry up. That's my whole point. But I really don't think they're going to do that much with it. I mean, they're going to kick it back to the state. So the state charges will still hold up.
Yeah.
I pull the chariot reversed. So it's not going to happen fast. It's going to take whatever he tries to do, it's going to be drug out.
Well, because he wants
And
to
I
do
also pulled the 3 of Swords, which is he's going to be brokenhearted because it's not going to go his way.
Oh, good. But he wants to delay it till after the election. My question is, a lot of people want to know, do you see him facing the consequences of all of this before the election? In other words, it could be house arrest. It could be whatever they're going to do. But I see sentence carried out pretty quickly.
What I've been getting from my guides is I don't know if he's going to be incarcerated the way we all want him to be. I do not feel it's house arrest at Mar-a-Lago.
No.
But what I am getting for him
No,
is
you have to serve in New York.
they're going to take away his access to social media, and that'll kill him.
Yep.
That's what I keep on getting.
I've been saying that for.
You may say, well, it's his free speech. It's like, well, he lost that when he got convicted.
You know what this is?
A little violin.
A little violin playing My Heart Bleeds for him.
Oh.
The devil.
No, but could you imagine him not having access to Truth Social?
Yeah, but he'll just do it from other states.
Yeah, but no,
because not be able to use.
If he's convicted in New York, doesn't he have to stay in New York? He can't leave the state.
That's correct, unless he's got special.
Especially once his sentencing comes down.
Well, we know it's special, but that's
he'll have to serve in New York. He won't even be able to go. He won't be able to go campaigning or anything.
Well, sorry, Mr. Trump, we're going to put you to towers, but Letitia James just took them.
Well, I think he's going to go to another trial between now and the election. I see it.
I see January 6th happening.
I see Eileen Looskin, like you said, Shari taking off that case. The thing is, though,
end of July is what my guides tell me.
Even if they restrict him from doing social media, this, and that, across the country or New York or whatever, he's going to say it's against his freedom of speech. Okay. The other part of that is,
what person in jail has a cell phone?
Hold on. Just let me, because if I don't get it out, I'll lose it. So that's all right. No problem. I just want to get my thought out. My ADD's kicking in. So what Trump will do is what he always does, like he danced around the gag order. He'll have his people get other politicians and get other people to come forward and say, what's this going on with Donald Trump? We support him, blah, blah, blah. So basically all he'll do is just pass it down the chain and get other people to do his dirty work in the hopes that it won't get traced back to him. That's what he'll do.
Right. But
take that to the bank.
Yeah. But just the fact he can't pick up his cell phone and start tweeting something or whatever.
Well, he'll be talking to people under the table to have them do his dirty work.
I understand that, but he can't do it.
Well, if the judges and stuff are smart in New York, and they are, but I don't know if they've thought that far ahead yet.
I'm sure
what they do is they give him a dummy phone to make him think he's tweeting to social media, and it doesn't go anywhere. So
or
let him
in jail
run
and
those
talk to somebody,
all over
and everything.
It'll be interesting.
Everything's screened.
Those are the questions people are asking. Shari, you've got questions, so why don't we get started with those? Because we can kind of go down that list too.
Okay. There was an article today in Raw Story, I think it was. The Democrats and progressive groups have joined together and are demanding that the DOJ start a new probe into Justice Alito over the flag debacle, and his obvious statement of that of supporting the insurrectionists, and he's refusing to recuse himself from any of the upcoming stuff that's going to hit the court.
Didn't he say his wife put it up? Didn't he throw?
Yeah, but that story fell apart. So
of course.
But there's not only the upside down flag, but the other one by his beach house with the the tree and all that stuff, like George Washington.
I see legislation passed that will prevent Supreme Court justices from doing that. If they pull shenanigans like that in the future, then they have to recuse themselves from a case that might be trying those shenanigans.
Right.
I see legislation being passed to prevent that. I see term limits for SCOTUS judges, and I also see them being vetted very carefully. And I also see there's going to be legislation passed saying that they absolutely cannot receive gifts of any shape, kind, whatsoever when they're on the Supreme Court.
Well, and Biden made the announcement Saturday, that once he gets reelected, he's putting in 2 more justices.
Yes.
He's adding 2 justices to the court. And there's rumors now going that there's a couple of more that are going to be looking at serious impeachment starting up.
My guides show me, and have shown me for a long time, that 2 justices would be impeached. And if they're smart, when they're impeached, that means to bring to trial. They're found guilty, not good. If they're smart, before they're removed from the court, they should really just resign. But last night, smart.
Last night, I kept on getting, my guides kept on showing me something about John Roberts, where it was almost like looking at, remember when John Boehner had enough with the GOP and resigned?
Yes.
That's what I kept on getting about John Roberts. Like, he's at a point where he wants to walk away from it. He can't take it.
Well, and his wife is coming under the microscope as well, because she's worked for some big lawyer right-wing think tank thing that she's helped pick out lawyers that are kind of young for them to be funneled into this special training to turn them into justices that'll be way right-wing. And she's been paid handsomely for it. So
well, I see
that's another thing that they've been talking about. So
I see 2
I think with Roberts, I think if his wife comes under the gun, he may very well.
What my guys were showing me last night is that I just saw Roberts and in the same situation as John Boehner was when he had it with the GOP and said, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with his wife, had nothing to do with anything. He just wanted out. That's what they were just telling me last night. So whatever, take it or leave it.
Cool.
I see 2 justices impeached and 1 resigning, so that's 3 leaving the court. That's what I see.
And I've always felt Clarence Thomas leaves before the
he won't
election.
resign. He said.
I know that, but my guys keep on saying, "Well, we'll see what happens."
I see Roe v. Wade reinstated.
Oh yeah.
And I see, they'll finally leave gay marriage alone, because now Alito's starting to talk about picking on that. But I see our gay marriage being codified. People are asking in the chat, and it's a good one. Leslie Harris actually asked the question. I'm kind of reading the chat for you, Shari.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
She's asking about the Hunter Biden case. They selected a jury today. And, it's funny how all these people are, the MAGAs, right, are going to be like, it's a conspiracy against Trump, blah, blah, blah. But they're not saying much about Hunter Biden. They're going to pick on that. And the reason I think he's under indictment is because he said he lied on an application to get a firearm or something. Or no, he lied. No, what did he lie about? There was something.
Whatever it was something that no one has ever been held against them.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
And it had something to do with registering his gun.
His gun. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So my feeling is it was, they wanted to ramrod him, but I don't know. I think that his lawyers are going to raise reasonable doubt with this jury, and I don't see him convicted. I could be wrong, but I don't see it. What do you all think?
It's going to be close, but I don't see a conviction.
I don't.
Yeah, they do some stuff to slap his wrist, but
but he's not technically he's not a government official.
Yeah. That's
No?
what I keep hearing is his lawyers are going to really be able to push the fact that he doesn't work for the government. He's not a consultant for his dad. He doesn't have anything to do with the running of the country. This is a private citizen. He's also an admitted drug addict and was heavily under the influence at the time that some of this stuff went on. And trust me, I mean, when you're in that kind of state, you do all kinds of stupid crap that you just don't have any awareness that that's what you're doing.
Well, the counter argument that could that to be just because you're drunk and you rob a bank doesn't make it any less illegal. So
True.
Right. And you still have to be held accountable.
But the thing is that, the hypocrisy and the double-edged sword is what gets me because, they let Trump and some of his cronies get by with all this BS. And, Hunter Biden, I don't know, he screwed up filling out a form, whether he's guilty or
Because
not.
his last name is Biden. It's the only reason why.
Correct. But what my guides have shown me is that Hunter Biden is going to sue MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, God. I've been
And
saying
he's going to win big time.
Huge. He's going to sue at least two of those houses. No, at least three houses.
He's going to go after a news company.
That's right.
And win.
Now, if Trump were president that were Trump's son, Trump would have pardoned him already. Right?
Yeah.
He would have pardoned him. But, Joe Biden is like, okay, let the difference between, I think, the MAGAs and the Dems and the independents is Biden is saying, let the justice system handle it.
Yeah.
Or as Trump pulled the Speaker of the House, all these other, 3 or 4 politicians or 5 to say, oh, it's rigged. It's a witch hunt, that everything's tampered with. So their statements, what does that say about the faith they have and the system they took an oath to uphold, our justice system? It reeks. It really reeks, in my opinion.
What was your opinion when Mike Johnson said that he's been speaking to the justices on the Supreme Court about the Trump thing?
Then the ones he talked to, they should recuse themselves because Johnson has already spoken to them. And that's undue influence. And he should keep his nose out of it.
And he should be.
That's right.
He should be investigated for sticking his nose.
That's right.
Because that's
the hypocrisy blows me away.
I've been wrong. I will admit I've been wrong. I've said that Johnson was going to be gone by the end of May, and he's still here.
It's okay for the MAGA people to do stuff, right? To break the law, do whatever. But yet, you let somebody else do it, and for political gain, they're going to try to crucify them. I see Hunter Biden. I see him. It could be a hung jury, but I want to tell you something. I've got a funny feeling that really not much is going to come of this.
Right. Just
impeachment.
But what
there was one of the hearings.
Biden rigged it. That's exactly what they're going to say.
Of course.
Well, of course, but there was one of the hearings that MTG brings up Biden. And I think it was Representative Moskowitz, who's another firebrand in the House, who brought up and had it put into the record. He was like, all this carrying on about Hunter Biden, who's not a government employee, not an advisor to his dad, has nothing to do with what the running of the government. Yet the former president's children were not only advisors and working in the White House with getting, information that they weren't supposed to be able to get because they weren't classified. They didn't pass the classification thing. And they walked away with $2 billion in payoffs from another government. And why aren't they in here being investigated? Right.
Right.
So kind of shut everybody up for a minute.
Jimmy Raskin's been investigating that quietly on the side. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah. Elizabeth Conklin said in the comments, I love this. The way 45 talks is all fell from the sky, that this just happened. If I were Randy Rainbow, I would do a parody called It's Raining Felonies.
Oh, I love Randy Rainbow. That's his real name. He's incredible.
That's what's so funny is that's what his mother really named him. Is like, you had no chance but to be anything but a gay musical star. I mean, you were born with a name. It was like she knew from the get-go. This is the direction he's gonna go. Did y'all see the most recent one he did? Was hilarious.
MTG.
Deb Z said that
Randy Rainbow. Yeah,
they said that Hunter.
Yeah,
Biden,
on MTG.
They said that Hunter Biden lied about his drug usage when he registered his gun. That's what the whole thing is about.
And he's saying that he did not check that box, that somebody else checked that box after he had turned it in. So,
but how many people have illegal weapons, okay, and nothing happens to them?
Yeah. Like Rittenhouse.
Right, exactly. He went and he shot a bunch of people, nothing happened to him. It was horrible.
And across state lines.
Correct.
His mother drove him there.
Right.
Why was she not held accountable?
CC Ryder says that that Hunter Biden said he wasn't doing drugs when he registered the weapon. So there you go. It's up to them to prove he was doing drugs when he registered the weapon. And that burden of proof is going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
They're going to raise reasonable doubt with a jury, I'm telling you. And jurors are going to think this is a railroad. That's what I see.
Yeah, it was another Cynthia had put that just goes along with the other question. I had forgot I started. We pretty much already answered that, but there was another one talking about Trump's properties. Do we think that they're going to seize them? Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do.
He's not going to have any properties left.
The GOP, when somebody say, well, pick a jury because they're trying to get even, the MAGAs are trying to get even with the Dems because of what happened with Trump. But the GOP doesn't pick the jury. The lawyers for both sides pick the jury.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why they can't say the jury was rigged, because
Correct.
Trump even approved some of the people in the jury.
Correct. There were a couple of people on there that were registered Republicans.
Yeah.
So
that voted for him. Yeah.
correct.
Oh.
I see his property seized, yes. Within the next year to year and a half. Yes.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions, Arthur? Or did we go through yours?
No, I haven't got them yet. One of them is, all this stuff that they're bringing up about Dr. Fauci, like today. And it was just hideous, is being grilled by the GOP over COVID. This is from Adele Dupree. Dr. Fauci is being drilled by the GOP over COVID. He was dedicated to helping us during COVID. Bless this kind man. Yeah. Did you see any of what they were doing to him?
I saw the clips. Yes. Oh my God. It was.
And he just sat there and just was very calm and collected.
He never lost his cool. And MTG, you could literally watch her blood pressure rise. I mean, because she wasn't getting the response out of him that she wanted to.
And
then she had a couple of Democratic representatives who, got their turn to speak and flat put her to shame and gave him a chance to actually answer the questions that she was asking. And another Republican representative on the committee was asking him about the $710 million that they were getting in royalties from the drugs for COVID. And Fauci was like, I haven't gotten any money from anybody for anything. I don't get royalties. He said, no, wait, I strike that. He says, I created some kind of an antibody thing 27 years ago. He says, and I get $120 a year in a royalty for it. and that's it. I don't get money from any royalties for any patents for any medications, and I certainly didn't get anything for COVID. He said that's just another one of those made up stories that have been going around the internet, but
I think Marjorie Taylor Greene and the likes were trying to get him angry, to try to get him to explode. And they can say, you see how he is? But Arthur, when you brought it up, I wrote in my notes right here, Dr. Fauci can handle himself. And
Yes.
I am so glad that the Marjorie Taylor Greenes got put in their places. Good.
This
And
is
I
the man
think it
who
was
went against AIDS.
They
when
should
it was
thank,
yeah.
they should thank the man for the work he did with getting us through the pandemic. Remember, he also worked with the Trump administration.
right.
Right. I think it was Moskowitz who
Until they
who
decided to put bleach in her arm,
Hi,
yeah.
Jeff Stein. Jeffrey Stein's in the house. He's doing really
Hi
well.
Jeff.
He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. And we've become good friends. So
Oh, that's nice.
we're
Cool.
both on the other side of cancer. So
Right.
Well, I know one now I lost my train of thought.
Right.
One of the other Democratic, I think it was Moskowitz,
yes.
actually gave Fauci a chance to respond to some of the stuff that MTG was trying to get him to be ticked off about. And he was asking him about, I remember now, the death threats. How, did he get death threats for anything? He said, oh yeah. He said, they've been really bad. He says, and every time somebody resurrects one of these conspiracy theories and starts spouting off, and he looked directly at MTG when he said it, he said the death threats get unbelievable. He said, me, my wife, my daughters, it's like, what have they got to do with what my job was, But it's the fact that this is how the other side responds to anything that doesn't agree with them. Is their response is, oh, well, we'll send death threats.
It's a mob mentality.
The people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and those people, because Fauci worked with the Trump administration, they should be kissing his rear end here in Chicago at State Madison at high noon, because that man saved a lot of lives. And I don't care what anybody says. He did. Please, all the anti-vaxxers, don't start emailing me. Please don't do that, because I'll send them back. But he really, I think, is a true scientist, and he knows his stuff. I mean, the pandemic was like every night, what's Dr. Fauci saying? The whole nation was glued to their TVs to hear what Dr. Fauci had to say, because people trusted him. And it's horrible for people like Marjorie Taylor Greene to try to smear his reputation.
And one of the things,
if somebody did that to her, she'd be singing the blues into the middle of next week.
Oh, big time. They brought up the horse serum stuff. The chloroquine.
Yeah,
I don't know, horse serum. I just know it's a horse serum. And they brought up the fact that Fauci brought up the fact that they were pushing this when science had already told everybody this does not help. It's worse, because it's not good for humans to take, except in very extreme cases with a couple of rare disease conditions you can get. And in very minute doses, you can take this stuff and it'll help. But not at the rate that they were pushing it from Trump and his people. That,
well, how about when Trump
we'll take that. And I was sitting there going, I know about this firsthand, because one of my cousins, she and her husband both got COVID bad. And for a week, they tried to deal with it their own way through their church's means of how to deal with it. And they just got worse and worse and worse, to where they had to both go to the hospital. Now, they were able to treat her and send her home. Her husband went into ICU, where he stayed for the next 6 months. And the whole time she was fighting. Matter of fact, she had to have him moved to another hospital, because she wanted his doctors to give him the horse serum stuff, because she had been convinced by her pastor and whatnot that that's what was going to cure him. The man's lungs are now glass. They're like glass. He has long-term COVID. He'll never be able to work again. He can barely walk across a room. And he has to cart around an oxygen tank with him everywhere he goes because it just destroyed his lungs. But yet they don't see that it was because they believed lies over scientific fact is what made him this way.
Well, remember
And it's
Trump
because
was
it's happened to a lot of people.
Remember when Trump was telling people something about drinking or doing something with Clorox or something?
Injecting
Bleach.
bleach.
And injecting bleach.
Yeah, but what about this one? Remember when he was talking about, was it black light or some kind of light that'll kill it? And he looked at that woman doctor, and she just put her head down. I called her the scarf. I forget her name. And he goes, "Oh, well, maybe we should try that." And I'm going like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And that's
something about putting it on a scope so they could run the light down into their into their stomach and stuff and shine the light and inject them with bleach. And
Trump needs to see the light, all right.
Oh my God! Yeah, I think the drug was hydroxychloroquine. I think that's what.
That's what it was. And Trump was pushing it because his friends
too. Yeah.
Hi, Marina.
Let's all sell some snake oil. That'll work, right?
Yeah. Let's do
what I
that.
was saying before is Fauci didn't drop out of the sky. Fauci was working with HIV in the very early stages, and he'd come up with a lot of things that saved millions of people's lives. And then the COVID hit, he saved people's lives.
He worked hand in hand with the vaccine people. I mean, he didn't sell snake oil. And so Trump was snake oil.
The one item that he still gets a royalty on a patent, $128 a year, was something that he developed, discovered, whatever, back when he was working on AIDS. And it was part of a key component that they were able to use for the COVID vaccine, but just a very minor point. It wasn't like a major, And
it's horrible. They're smearing his name. It just galls.
Oh yeah.
I got one here. Can I bring it? This is really good. This is going to give you a good laugh. It's so true. Joni S says, "It's outrageous that members of SCOTUS are speaking to the Speaker of the House, but the Chief Justice will not speak to the Senate."
Right.
She's right. She's right about that. That's very good, Joni. You get a free half-hour session from me for that one.
Well, I'd say she get the gold star, but I'll give her the whole box.
She gets a free half-hour session from me for that. That's
wonderful.
Awesome. You can't do better than that. Okay. Speaking along the same lines, Spirit Beyond the Stars, where the Oklahoma governor sit, but the pills that he bought from Trump on the street and sell them like a drug dealer.
I don't know what pills he bought from Trump.
I don't know what pills he bought, so I don't know.
I don't know what they're talking about, actually. Do you, Arthur? Do you know that? I don't know.
No, I don't. I just remember how vindictive Trump was when he was giving faulty respirators to people in New York.
Oh, yeah. Remember that? They didn't work.
They didn't work.
Yeah.
Being petty.
Or that he was making governors battle each other to outbid one another to get PPE. And then whatever state would win, about the time they would fork over the money to pay for it, Jared would come in and say, "Oh no, the federal government's taking that." And they didn't get their money back. I mean, and they got their stuff taken by the federal government. And it never got dispersed. It never got sent out,
Right.
Not to mention the fact that 6 months before COVID broke out, Ivanka was in China for something and got a patent and bought in on a coffin company in China that supplies coffins all over the world. It's like, okay, were you just a little bit of psychic ability there? Or did somebody tell you need to stock up on coffins or buy stock in the coffin business? I mean, Very suspicious to me, but that's just like, you got to be kidding.
That and voting machine she had a patent on too.
I don't think Teresa says this is really good. The Republicans are just wanting a false equivalence to distract from Trump's myriad indictments and now 34 felony convictions. She's talking about Hunter Biden, but you know what? I don't think that the press is going to play so much on the Hunter Biden thing. They will, but it's not going to be like they're doing with Trump. I can tell you that right now.
It's not like they're waiting outside the courthouse this morning.
Correct. And Hunter Biden's got a phenomenal legal team. So,
and
I heard this
himself.
I'm sorry.
I heard from somebody this morning that
he's a lawyer. People forget that.
I'm sorry. Say again, Arthur.
It's in stereo. Hunter Biden is also an attorney. He's a lawyer.
Yes, but he's got a good team. Shari, what were you saying?
I was going to say I and it just popped back into my head. I'd forgotten about it. This morning, somebody was talking on one of the Midas Touch people on their talking that Trump did not show up for his first visit with his
he didn't. That's right.
Probation officer. Thank you. I went blank. And it's like, okay, anywhere, anybody else, that would be an automatic. The deputies are sent out to arrest your ass and drag you to jail if you don't show up for your probation office visit. And he didn't show up, so it's like, now what are y'all going to do?
Well, the world revolves around Donald, but he better show up because I'm telling you, he just puts more nails in his coffin. This judge is not going to put up with any shenanigans. And now Judge Merchan is in charge of the trial over Bannon. And Bannon's going to be found guilty. So,
in a New York second.
In a New York second.
And
it's funny you just said that he put a nail in a coffin. Maybe his daughter bought it.
That's big.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if Ivana's coffin was one of the ones that Ivanka had stock in.
Is that Marina? That's
Marina.
The courts are corrupt because they found Trump guilty. What court will hear Hunter Biden's gun case? Yeah, that's true. Good point, Marina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did Marjorie Taylor Greene get kicked out today? Somebody said she got kicked out today.
I don't.
I have no.
I didn't see the whole exchange, but I know that several of the Democrats got in her face and just, she can't take it. She can dish it out, but she can't take it. But that's the way most of them are on the other side.
Yeah, just ask Jasmine Crockett.
That's my new hero.
Randy Rainbow's latest parade. Look at me, I'm MTG.
Yeah. It's hysterical. It's hysterical.
Absolutely. It's a song from Greece.
From Greece, yeah. Look at me, MTG, right? I'm laughing here. These are great.
And he killed it, as always. I still remember the interview I saw him on a couple of years back when he first got really big. And Jody, I forget her last name, she's on with Stephanie Miller on the radio out of LA. And she's Carol Burnett's daughter.
Which one?
And her name is Jody.
Yeah, Jody, yeah.
And I'm going blank on her last name. But she had actually went and saw Randy Rainbow do one of his shows and went backstage and met him and everything. And then a few days later, her mom called her, Carol Burnett, and said, "Have you seen this guy? He's all over the internet." She was telling them all about Randy Rainbow. She's like, yeah, I just saw him on he did a stage show. And her mother was like, "Well, give me his number. I need to call him." So, the next thing he knows, he's picking up the phone and it's Carol Burnett telling him how wonderful he is. He was like, "I could have died and gone to heaven in that moment." And that would have been all she wrote.
Could you imagine her calling him saying, "Hi, I'm Carol Burnett." He goes, "Yeah, right. And I'm Napoleon." Right. Yeah, right. I'm the Wicked Witch there was. I don't know which, but
Oh my God.
I mean, if somebody called me and said, "I'm Carol Burnett," I'm like, okay, did my cousin Lisa put you up to this joke?
Actually, can I tell you a very personal Carol Burnett story to tell you how wonderful she
Sure.
is? A cousin of mine, distant cousin, worked at the Sands Hotel in the 50s with the Rat Pack when Carol Burnett first started. And he said he held Carol's hand backstage before she went out on stage. She wouldn't go out unless he was holding her hand. Years later, I got to know her publicist. And I said, "You're with Carol Burnett, right? I hate to ask this, but this guy in Vegas that she used to know is a distant relative of mine." And I gave her the name, and here's the phone number. He's dying of cancer. I'm just, whatever it is. He called me 3 days later and said, "I just got off the phone for 3 hours with Carol Burnett. Thank you."
Wow.
Awesome. And see, and that reminds me of a little story I have about Carol Burnett. Well, it wasn't my story. It was a coworker's story. Before she moved to Phoenix and worked for our company, she was still living in LA, and she worked for Cedars-Sinai Hospital. And she was working, she was like a floater. They would put her in different departments wherever they needed her. And they had her come in one morning, and they needed her to go to the oncology clinic and help them out because evidently several people didn't show up to work that day. So she gets there, she goes in. There's no receptionist, there's no tech for the machine in the back, no nothing, and a room full of people. And so she's trying to get everybody's information and do all of this and say, okay, now just be patient with me. And then she would take them back and then have to do the thing and then bring them out and get the next one and then sign up and the next couple of people that had come in. Well, in the course of this morning, Carol Burnett came in with her other daughter, the one that had cancer, that died from cancer. And she was watching my friend, knocking herself out trying to do all of this. And after a little while, she got up and she walked over to the desk and she said, "How long have you been working here this morning?" And she said, "Well, I got here right after the clinic opened." And she said, "Well, have you had a lunch break?" And she said, "No, I'm probably not going to get one today." And Carol just said, "Okay." And she walked out the door. And my friend was busy. She didn't think anything about it. About 30 minutes later, here comes Carol Burnett back in with this plate lunch and a soda. And she proceeds to hand it to her. She says, "You go over there and eat. I'll take care of this." And she went behind the counter and proceeded to process people, take them to the back. I mean, because she already knew the drill, because she would go with her daughter. So she knew what was done and how it was done. And my friend said they were eating lunch. And Carol's daughter was like, just like Mom, she's got to be in control of everything. But it just really touched my heart because it'd be like, I kept imagining the people coming in for treatment and there's Carol Burnett checking you in. It's like, how surreal would that be? So yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about her.
Hey, we've got somebody watching from Australia. And
oh, wow.
Jessica Mason.
Hello, mate.
Jessica Mason says, as an Australian, Dr. Fauci is a worldwide hero going back to the AIDS epidemic. He has helped save millions of lives over the years.
Yes.
That
absolutely.
Is what
absolutely.
When a lot of those people that were the anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers, when they were dying of AIDS and they were vilifying nurses and doctors for wearing masks, many of those people were saying when they were dying of AIDS, "Oh, can I get the vaccine now?" Oh, you want it now, right? But yet you vilified these people for wearing masks when they were trying to help you. But yet it was those nurses and those doctors that treated those people that hated them.
Right.
So, boy, the hypocrisy of that just floored.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It blows me away.
At some points it makes me so angry that I can't.
How much do you want to bet if Marjorie Taylor Greene has some kind of illness and if it was a vaccine? Trump got the vaccine and he was like he was like talking about the vaccine, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
how much do you want to bet if Marjorie Taylor Greene got an illness, she would be the first in line wanting to get treatment for it?
Before the clinic opens so that nobody knows about it.
Correct. She'd be the first in line. She'd throw people out of line.
When they first came out with the vaccine, and Nancy Pelosi made it a requirement that if you were going to come into the House floor, you had to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
And they were all getting their vaccines. Same with all the Fox crew people. We're all gotten vaccines while being on air and telling people that's a bunch of hoax. Don't bother with it. It's like, how many deaths do you want racked up in your slot before you go onto your pearly gates or wherever you think you're going?
Jerry Hendricks has a good question here. It says, will Dr. Fauci sue MTG for what she said to him today about him being a murderer and that he needs to be brought up on more crimes and crimes against humanity? I think I
missed that clip. Wow.
I was going to say he's used to it.
I think he's got too much class to put himself on her level, and I don't think he'll even I don't think he would even dignify her comments with a response. He's not going to allow her to know that she's got the power over him to cause him to elicit any kind of answer or emotional response, because in his head, it's nonsense. And he's like, yeah. I'm not even going to respond to nonsense. And good for him.
Well, that's just like when she was hitting him with the conspiracy theories of the $700-something million payoffs, but she wouldn't let him answer. And then when the Democratic representative picked up their turn and brought it back out for him, he said, let me just clear the air here. He said, and get some things straight. He says, I've never been given anything for any COVID medications. That was my job. That's what I did, was to help save lives. You don't worry about royalties or what you're going to get on a patent when you're working 24/7 to save people's lives, but he flat put it all out there, and let it direct eye contact with MTG about this nonsense of these conspiracy theories. He said, and every time they start them back up again, my phones start going crazy with death threats, and my family starts getting death threats. He said, so that that needs to come to an end. And yeah.
I see legislation coming. If they find the people who make those death threats, there's going to be stiff federal penalties for them. I can tell you that right now. That's going to stop. That nonsense will stop.
And that'll be federal.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Well, gentlemen, we're over an hour.
Yes.
How time flies when we're having fun.
It went really quick. Time flies when you're having fun.
I always write down questions beforehand, so I just wrote a bunch of them down that people had.
Well, and that's it. I mean, a lot of what we talked about was stuff that I had highlighted, that I had looked up, so I didn't have to ask the question. We kind of already covered most of it.
I'm just like a bobblehead.
Just a reminder, everybody, this is the last week that we're doing this live. Starting next week, we go back to our regularly programmed schedule, the second and fourth Monday of the month, and they will be pre-recorded. So we will post something on our community page the weekend before we come on for y'all to put your questions in. So any one of the three of us, you can put your questions in, and we will be more than happy to try to cover as many of them as we can before our hour is up. But thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all all for the lovely birthday wishes. I do appreciate it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Well, I'm in YouTube jail anyway, so go ahead, sing. They can't hit me.
Swamp Lady. Happy birthday to you.
Now you know why I can't sing.
Yeah, I'd be glad I wasn't joining in for somebody else. I can't sing either. Lisa Foster's birthday is coming up on the 6th. So,
Happy
Mr.
birthday,
Brewer
Lisa.
hung up on me saying that's
Lisa's,
okay.
and
Lisa's so good to animals.
there's-
Really good to the cats and doggies.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lisa's awesome. Yeah.
She lives in
And,
Fairfield. Got cousins living over.
yeah,
That's
she's a
Kentucky,
Kentucky girl.
right outside
Well,
of
thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you, Mel. We will all three be back on Monday, next Monday, for our regularly scheduled programming, pre-recorded. So, thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Hi, Pat. I'm glad to see you here. Thank y'all again for the birthday wishes. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you in a week.
Alrighty.
So,
And Arthur,
Bye-bye.
bye for now.